Welcome to another episode in the season finale of America. I'm Jimmy Fallon in for Greg Gutfeld. We're not sure what the king of late night is up to, but the way things are going in this country, he may have just gotten a job modeling women's yoga pants, for all we know. Yeah, and another time a biological man like Greg couldn't have been hired to model women's clothes, but he probably could model children's clothes at his height, let's be honest. Of course, I bring up children because Disneyland, which once considered itself the happiest place on Earth, is continuing its ongoing quest to become the wokest place on Earth. Check it out. Disneyland just announced its first LGBT Pride Night in an effort to clap back across the country at Ron DeSantis in an ongoing culture war that started when he passed what the left claimed was a Don't Say Gay bill. The only problem there is, like every other Disney story, Don't Say Gay was a pure fantasy. The Parental Rights and Education Act didn't even mention the word gay on any of its 6 original pages, or in its expansion of the bill. It simply made it illegal to teach sexual activity or sexual identity to children between the ages of kindergarten and 3rd grade. Because let's face it, growing up, we had a word for people who wanted to talk sex with little kids. They were called pedophiles. And DeSantis wisely pushed that crap out of the classrooms, not because he hated gay kids or trans kids, but because he hated the idea of sexualizing kids. And you know who else didn't ask to have adults sexualizing little kids or telling them they were trapped in the wrong body? Little kids. Bingo. Circle gets a square. No little kid was asking to go for a ride on Snow White and the 7 Genders. Nope. No little boy wanted to be Peter Pan sexual. No, ma'am. And no little girl was asking to dress up as a princess named Cinderfella. This only happens when woke parents force their politics on children the way Disney's woke board is forcing its politics on parents. You see, they're trying to clap back against their own straw man argument that DeSantis banned gay people. But hello, nobody who's ever been to Key West thinks Florida banned gay people. Yo, South Beach is so gay, they have a Pride Month for straight people. Disney claims they're carrying on with this event in the name of inclusion. But we know that's a scam, because if Disney really cared about including as many people as possible, they wouldn't charge $120 to get in. You know? Thank you. Stop it. Last I checked, the prices were keeping out a lot more kids than the pronouns, Disney. Nope. This Pride Night is a way for Disney to score points with its woke culture warriors while doing what it does best, which is ripping off parents. Take it from a guy who knows. I took my son to Disney back in 2012 when I was a cab driver. Couldn't try the food because we couldn't get a cosigner, but the point is we had a good time. And when I got done turning tricks behind Space Mountain, my credit card was level. Sorry if they did home for a few people. Thought some of you fellas look familiar. But the point is, Disney doesn't care about inclusion because they have the most exclusionary prices of any theme park on the planet. And don't let them pretend they care about gay people, because Disney's streaming service does business in over a dozen countries that criminalize gay activity. For real. This is a company that calls DeSantis a homophobe while they squeeze every last dollar they can out of countries where gay behavior is punishable by fines, prison sentences, and hard labor. And not the type of hard labor Chadwick Moore offered me in the green room either. Disney makes plenty of money in Saudi Arabia, which treats same-sex activity with chemical castrations, and in Yemen, where being gay is punishable by death. Not to mention that Disney Cruise Lines charge a starting price of $3,800 a person to sail to Antigua, Dominica, and St. Martin, where 2 guys kissing will not have a happy ending. Well, it might, but they'll get arrested if they get caught in the act. So, yo, Disney, keep up with the group. So, yo, Disney, how about instead of hollering about don't say gay, you don't say anything? Because it may be a small world after all, but it's a huge double standard in your case, girlfriend. And I know DeSantis' Republican rivals are criticizing him for taking away Disney's special tax privileges and joking that he might build a state prison next to the park. And today, Florida updated that education bill on instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity, and it now includes grades 4 through 12 unless the curriculum is taught in a reproductive health lesson. Now listen, we could argue for days over whether DeSantis is taking this too far, but let's not forget where it started. A governor stood up to the outrage mob and the biggest corporation in his state to say that he wasn't going to let anyone sexualize kindergarten kids. They tried spinning that into some sort of homophobia, even a bit of transphobia with zero supporting evidence. You know the old saying, when you have the facts, you pound the facts, but when you have nothing, you pound the table. Woke corporations like Disney have been pounding the table, but the joke of it all is nobody asked them to. Look, are kids going to grow up to be sexual beings someday? Sure they are, especially if R. Kelly can help it. I'm like, how is he not a bail risk, by the way? He believes he can fly. You know what I mean? But seriously, Disneyland is where you go to escape adulthood, even when you're adult. Which is why this parent thinks DeSantis is all the way right for pushing back on the left's obsession with sexualizing little kids. Just because families like Toy Story doesn't mean Disney should be trying to give our kids a Woody. Let's welcome tonight's guests. She knows markets better than a Wuhan bat. Fox Business anchor Lauren Simonetti in the house. Freddie Mercury is gone, but he will rock you. Contributing editor of The Spectator, Chadwick Moore. If ticket sales were beer, his would be Bud Light. Comedian Joe DeVito, we love you. We love him. Stop, we love you. Stop. The staff put me up to that. You know I love you. And cops used to throw the book at her, but now she's a best-selling author. You damn right she is. Fox News contributor Kat Timpf is here for the win. Bang! Chadwick, I will go to you first, girlfriend.
Why would you choose me first?
Well done. But for a second, speaking as a gay man, let's take politics out of this for a second. Explain why this is all the left's fault.
Well, the reaction is, it's just so stupid and pathetic. I mean, Disney's had a gay days for like ever. So now they're going to say, we're adding a gay night too, just to stick it to you, DeSantis. And it's not even at the Florida park, it's at the one in California.
But I feel like it's just such a strongman argument. I'll come to you for a second, Kat. We have tons of gay friends, okay? And we don't ever want a world where they don't feel accepted or included, but don't you think pride is almost being like misrepresented now as an FU to half the country who didn't have a problem with pride?
I actually took a huge issue with something you said in your monologue.
Give it to me.
That I wrote it down.
Okay, give it to me. Disneyland
is where you go to escape adulthood even when you're an adult. That's not true. That's the bar. I think that's alcohol. I mean, I think it's strange when adults go to Disney as a recreational activity. I've said this many times, and everybody who gets upset at me for saying it proves my point. When I see, like, let's go to your bachelorette party in Disneyland. We can drink around the world, or for the same price, you could drink around the actual world. Like, let's go to Europe. But again, Chadwick, like you said, this is not new. It's like pride. If you want to, like, okay. That's fine. It's
kind of stupid. If you were a Disney shareholder, you're a business person, when it comes to this conflict and this manufactured culture war, would you make like Princess Elsa and let it go?
Well, it's not being let go.
I know.
At the movie theater. Strange World.
Yep.
My 4-year-old, his friend had a birthday party there, and parents actually canceled when they found out of the movie that they were showing. Because of the crush in it, the gay crush. That was supposed to be a blockbuster. It failed big time. 2 movies Disney put out last year tanked because they're pushing these values on Americans who are saying, yeah, I'll teach my child this when I'm ready. I'm not going to take them to like the theater and have them be introduced to concepts that they're just not ready for. I think people going to the park don't really care so much because they're there to spend an arm and a leg and have so much fun and just escape. But guess what? Pride Night, you have to pay even more for. It's $140 and it's ticketed. So there is a separation there. So as a shareholder, I think you can sort of ignore it. Where you can't ignore it is if DeSantis wins in this fight and some of those perks that Disney has had for decades get pulled away.
Now, I would love to see that because I think it would encourage other corporations to like chill out.
Do you want the prison next to Walt Disney World?
That's kind of
That
funny.
would be amazing, said nobody ever.
Joey D, would you care more about this story if you were tall enough to get on the rides?
Well, for your information, I like the It's a Small World ride because the singing dolls are the same size as me. So there. I dated one for 4 years, but she kept singing the song in the bedroom. It was very awkward. First, charging an arm and a leg. Ableist.
Cancel, Simonetti, cancel.
I don't mind this as much because it's an evening event. I think it might just be for adults, so it's not quite the same. You can bring kids?
I believe, yeah.
Well, I don't mind a Pride night, a Pride day, a Pride dusk. I got some issues with a Pride dusk. I don't care for that. But if you take away the children aspect of Disney, it's very creepy. Yeah. It's weird, because just look at the characters. You've got the whole Duck family running around. They're pantsless. Scrooge McDuck is rubbing his ass in a room full of coins. This is very strange.
Scrooge McDuck was the original OnlyFans.
You know? He was. Yeah, to get those coins. And look at Goofy and Pluto. I mean, one's wearing a turtleneck, the other one's got a collar and a chain. It's very perverse. So I don't think it's a big deal, and I don't like when people say, what about straight pride? You want to know about straight pride? Take a look at my browser history. Tell me what you see there that anyone should be proud of.
But let me ask you this. Do you feel like on some level, I kind of alluded to this earlier, there's like this straw man argument being waged that the gay community is under attack when we are so far past. If you look at pop culture and who's successful and who's selling and sitcoms, are they kind of weaponizing, like hijacking this in a way to kind of make it a point of contention when one wouldn't really exist? Like, meaning we don't care if gay kids go to Disney World. That's obviously not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because especially now with, Gen Z is the first generation to come of age post gay marriage when basically, the gay rights movement is it's over. It's effectively over. It's totally over. And yet we've raised this generation of people that feel like they need to be freedom fighters in some respect. At least keyboard freedom fighters.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's pathetic. And they really have nothing strong that they're actually fighting for. It's just these silly little battles.
Yeah.
And they have to invent what's not there, like in Ron DeSantis' bill in Florida.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely very straightforward. And instead it's been billed as just don't say gay and just acting gay people.
Total scam.
Scam.
Let me ask you this as a parent though, because they want to tell us that, we need to care more about the well-being of these children. But should anybody be lecturing us about the well-being of children if they're selling a 12-pound turkey leg? You know that thing it's literally sick. It looks like it's off a Velociraptor, and you're like, rah, 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 rah. And it's $32 for a turkey leg.
I think that's why so many people are outraged by this, because you save for a vacation. You don't go to Disney every year unless you live in Florida, and then you might not go every year. This is your savings, your planning, and then you go and you have to explain things to your children and spend so much money for the food.
And at no point on the way down do you fantasize about going on a ride called It's a Small Reassignment Surgery after all. Up next, lawmakers can't make sense of artificial intelligence.
If you'll be in the New York area and would like tickets to see Gutfeld, go to foxnews.com/Gutfeld and click on the link to join our studio audience.
Hey, girl. Can the dinosaurs in Congress comprehend that AI might be the end? The potential benefits and harms of artificial intelligence have been debated on this show before. We've examined its ability to create art, pass exams, and seemingly do the impossible, like get Joe DeVito laid. Ooh,
What is going on?
Joey, I love DeVito. Why are you doing this to me? We started out together. This is wrong. But as artificial intelligence grows, so do the concerns of lawmakers who say members of Congress might not understand what's coming.
You have members of Congress that don't know how to log into Zoom or Facebook. And so to have these kinds of really important debates about technology and our vulnerabilities, you want people to be able to understand what the technology is and what it isn't.
I don't think Congress is prepared intellectually, but there's no doubt that AI is going to be highly consequential.
So it's no wonder they don't see our digital doomsday could be fast approaching if they don't know how to reset a Wi-Fi password. And if you think they understand chats, try having a convo with John Fetterman. Jimmy, so silly. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, a man well aware of AI's capabilities, sat down with a mysterious man who doesn't age, known as Tucker Carlson, to discuss his own upcoming version of AI technology.
I sought something which I know you call truth GBT, or a maximum truth-seeking AI that tries to understand the nature of the universe. And I think this might be the best path to safety, in the sense that an AI that cares about understanding the universe is unlikely to annihilate humans, because we are an interesting part of the universe.
So Elon is having his Jurassic Park moment. He's saying, hey, maybe we should stop breeding bloodthirsty dinosaurs? Hell, I'd be happy if we just stopped electing them. Joey D, I'll go to you first. What concerns you more, that Elon is struggling to figure out AI, or that Congress is struggling to figure out while the VCR is flashing 12 o'clock?
What made me nervous was he said AI won't kill humans because he thinks we're interesting. So if AI discovers NPR, we're doomed.
I love this.
This has got me nervous in the way that it was about 2 or 3 years ago when all the billionaires were like, we're going to build our own ships to Mars. And I thought, what do they know is coming our way that they're going to leave us here to clean up? So I'm not that afraid about artificial intelligence, because I've seen what natural intelligence has done, and it's not very impressive. So I say let the robots take their shot. Could they do worse? I mean, at least they won't be looting Walmarts and pooping in the street.
It's going to take them a minute, you know. Chadwick, what should I be more worried about? Google's AI or my Google search history?
Oh, we should all be worried about your Google search history.
It's bad?
I think. Yeah, I think it's that bad. It's I go back and forth between these stories are just too terrifying to even read. I don't even want to think about what this is capable of. To no, this is once again a bunch of nerds who think that they're masters of the universe, and they might ultimately will just flop, and no one really cares as much as they do about this stuff. Elon Musk's explanation for what he wanted to create sounded quite inspiring and impressive. He said he wanted to create an AI that was, you know, fundamentally concerned with the big questions of the universe, and because we're an important part of the universe, hopefully it won't want to destroy us. But then again, maybe the more it learns, it might change its mind.
Yeah.
You know, we got to train it to be. We need like dog DNA in that. We need it to see humans as.
It's always happy to see you.
So it's always happy to see us, and just absolutely thinks that we're wonderful in God. So we have to inject that in whatever he's planning. While it learns about us.
I think it's funny. One of the things I learned, Lauren Simonetti, okay, is that this could be devastating for the job market, because AI could take a lot of jobs away. Have people even contemplated the effect that would have on society if so many people were out of work?
You still need the human touch, right? For therapists, for instance, journalists, right? To decipher what's real, what's fake, misinformation, disinformation. But yeah, you can't push it away and say it's not going to happen. It's the next technological revolution in the country, and you have to embrace it. And we should all be lifted up because of it, even though some of us might be eliminated. But I think you need to switch the way we think about AI, because it is scary when you think about it as us versus them, right? Man versus the robots that can take over. But it's really man versus man. And I think that's what Elon Musk is sort of getting at. Well, who are the men that program the system?
Well, I think that's the issue.
Yes.
Because it's, you know, their concern is that it's very liberal, like Microsoft and Google. Larry Page said to Elon Musk, Elon was like, hey, I'm worried about this destroying humanity. Larry Page called him speciesist.
I didn't even know what that was.
Of course. But he was saying, like, you're being racist by prioritizing humans over other beings. Who doesn't want to live in a world where we're the top of the food chain? Do you know how we are if we're not the top of the food chain? But back to her point about programming, okay? ChatGPT famously, you might have read this, you guys might have covered this one night. ChatGPT famously said it would not misgender our friend Caitlyn Jenner to avert a World War nuclear war. It said that would be considered such an affront that it would be making the war happen. Do you think it really means that, or do you think we could convince ChatGPT to misgender Caitlyn if it just knew she was Republican?
I actually think the second one is probably true.
Yeah.
I actually do. Unfortunately, this is not new, right? Politicians making laws or controlling technology without knowing how to log into Facebook. Kind of reminds me of, I don't know, politicians wanting to ban AR-15s who think that stands for assault rifle 15. Like,
I know.
They make laws about rights and things and issues that they don't know anything about all the time. It's like if you or I come into work hungover, it's like maybe we're a little slow, everything's fine. If they do it, our rights get taken away. And like it should be talked about more than it is. I'm grateful though that AI could never have written my book.
There it is! There it is!
Because a robot could never have a chapter 5.
Love this. Do you believe or agree with Kat that they don't understand guns? Like, I have a sneaking suspicion Jerry Nadler thinks AR stands for Arby's.
Yeah.
But isn't she right to say that the government does get involved when they don't understand, and it usually makes things worse? Isn't that COVID in a nutshell?
Yeah, well, it's like anytime you see a law that's named after someone, it's usually a bad law. Because what you have is people who are going for an appeal to emotion, which is also very bad too. So who knows? Maybe the AI will sort that out. But the problem is getting rid of that weird bias that seems to be baked into it right now, depending on who the creator of it is. All I know is, from my knowledge of history, we lost our planet to apes, and they weren't that smart at the time.
Well, all I would add to that is if AI wants to destroy this country, they better speed it up because Biden's beating them to it. Red meat in a red jacket. Red meat in a red jacket. Up next, the tiny tot and his White House plot. That's a good line.
GetRefunds.com.
A toddler slipped through a fence past heavily armed gents. But will Biden's security change after a child wandered into sniffing range? You guys. On Tuesday, a toddler squeezed through a White House security fence and actually got onto the grounds near the north side of the building, which means we almost had 2 people speaking gibberish in the Oval Office. Jimmy. Apparently, the White House has spent $64 million since 2019 to upgrade the fence, although I'm guessing most of that money actually went to Ukraine, too. Anyway, the child was unharmed, and the White House safely returned the boy to her parents. I wonder what old Joe's got to say about this.
No, look, that fence is like that on purpose, man. I like the kids to be able to slip through. I like kids for so many reasons, all right? But I'm not a sicko like that Dalai Lama sticking out his tongue. I come in from behind. All right, I go in for the nape of the neck. I'm a nape smeller. Good feller. And, it's just kids and ladies I like to smell, that's all. But I can't do it in public anymore. I get in trouble. I need a private place. I need a sniff skiff.
Go to best-selling author Kat Timpf. Are babies the new Chinese spy balloons?
They might be. The security breach is disgusting. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
But it is freaky.
What if I was being serious, though? I was like, you should be impeached for this. No. I think that I might be ready to be a mother, because if you can just lose your baby in front of the president and get to keep it, then I'm going to be totally fine. What have I been so worried about all these years? I thought you had to, actually always. You don't have to keep track of it.
There's apps.
I'm getting
now.
pregnant tomorrow.
There's apps. You can do things. Joey D, you said in the green room they should have waterboarded the baby to make an example. Why?
Yes. I think it's because I confuse waterboarding with motorboating.
In this administration,
made for some awkward first dates. Did they get competitive bidding for this project of this fence? Because if there's one thing America knows how to do, it's build a fence that keeps unauthorized people from entering secure areas. What's their slogan like? Almost strong enough to keep out a baby. I don't want to fault this kid, but can't we run a current through the fence, like a little electricity or something? I mean, the kid got close. He sensed there's diapers in there, and he made his move. I don't fault him. I don't fault him. He's a go-getter, that kid.
I respect it. Chadwick, has this baby inadvertently revealed a way for Joe and Jill to finally hang out with Hunter's stripper baby?
Well, to be fair, I think the fence was built to keep Joe in if he was having a bad day, wandering in traffic. They spent $64 million on this fence, and you can't have a way when tourists visit to get a picture of the White House without the fence in the way. I don't know if you've noticed that in D.C., but like millions of people come to see this house, and you have a picture of this stupid, $64 million.
Yep, it's bananas.
It's bananas, yeah.
I don't know what to make of it, but I will say this, because in the green room, you said it was nice to see someone on their hands and knees in the White House besides Monica Lewinsky.
Took the words out of my mouth.
They get frisky on the business channel.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
in a blue dress.
No, but good callback. But is it not so insane? Because you go to bed at night, you want to believe, at least at the White House, we're playing a little defense. Clearly, we're not. Were we naive this whole time, like meaning in previous generations, or do you think this is new?
This has happened many times, not many, several times before. And because it happened so many times, they decided to make the fence taller instead of wider, and a little bit wider, I should say, so the baby was able to get in. But I really think this toddler would just wanted his own press conference. I think he just did, because it was last week. The president was in Ireland, and he did give a press conference to kids.
He did.
And now the babies want one too. So they said, we're just going to go in and get it.
Well, the parents said he just wanted to speak to the guy in charge of the White House, but Xi Jinping couldn't come to the front. Just let's have this talk, Joey D, collectively. Have you ever felt like we were living in a bigger laughingstock of a country than right now?
No, I mean, the only good news is that with trends continuing, kids will be too fat to fit through between the bars of the cage. It brings back like a weird Elian Gonzalez vibe, right?
Yeah.
When you look at that picture, that I guess the children are easier for our security people to bring down now than a feisty Cuban back in the day. But yeah, I mean, we were invaded by balloons and toddlers. I don't know how we could be making it easier for people to penetrate the perimeter.
They literally told us when Biden got re-elected, the adults were back in the room. I'm like, yes, and there's toddlers crawling in with them.
I mean, we've got balloons and toddlers. The only thing I can think is there's going to be a security issue next with cake. Cake or ice cream causing a problem.
I just love your fat kid joke. I think that's really funny. The fat kids are actually, that's a safety mechanism. You can't kidnap them anymore because it takes too long. You know what I mean?
Throw your back out.
Yeah. You imagine being a kidnapper in 2023? You're like, kid, get in the van. I got candy. The kid's like, does it contain peanuts? Coming up, they're taking shots at indigenous mascots.
Man.
The state of New York has a beef with any team named the Chiefs. Following a ruling by Albany education honchos, which would be a cool name for a team, by the way, public school teams in New York will soon be barred from calling themselves names like the Warriors, the Chiefs, the Redmen, or Braves, or risk losing state aid. Now, to be clear, most school teams in New York City, of course, go by names like the Defendants, the Ex-Cons, and the Addicts. Said one official, it's the right thing to do. Our desire is to elevate people, not diminish them. Unless they're old people. Andrew Cuomo already elevated them to heaven. That was for you, Janice Dean. We'll never let it go. This, despite the fact that residents of one county said their school's Indian name is about honor, not disrespect. Truth be told, though, this whole exercise allows those who pretend to care about the dignity of indigenous people to feel good about themselves while ignoring the real problems Native Americans face every day, like the fact that they experience higher rates of substance abuse than other ethnic groups, and this one woman keeps claiming she's part of their family. But that's the woke way, appearance over substance. In fact, if they had a team, I'm sure it would be called the Virtue Signalers. But when they lose, they burn down the stadium. So is the woke mob right, replacing smoke signals with virtue signals? Chadwick, I will go to you, and let's have a big box, heart-to-heart, honest discussion.
Yes.
When you take a name like the Washington Redskins, wouldn't you argue that more people are offended at this point by the word Washington?
Sounds good. Hey,
Jimmy.
I agree. Yeah, I like New York addicts. They should do that. They should be like the New York barren career women, the New York rioters. Like that is the direction it should go. But also, when's this going to come to town names? Because how many towns in New York are named after Indian places or references?
All of them.
All of them.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yaphank, Ronkonkoma,
yeah.
Spionk.
Yes.
All towns in Suffolk where I've hooked up with a fat chick, by the way. Call me.
But it's like New York has basically solved all of its problems, so now they can focus on things like this, which is wonderful.
Totally.
That's why we live here. It's utopia. We can.
Kat, what are you less interested in, the virtue signaling discussion or sports?
Well, this is actually remarkable for me. This is a momentous day because concerns over the possibility of an indigenous mascot at a New York City school was the only other thing stopping me from having kids.
I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it.
No, look, why don't we focus on like the math and stuff? I think that we all pay money for these schools, whether we have kids or not, through our taxes, and then they just teach kids whatever they want to teach. I think there's a bigger issue, obviously, beyond mascots, right? That there's no options, there's no choices for parents for their own kids in terms of education, and also competition. Having there be no competition, the outcomes are going to be worse because competition forces you to be better, and you can't be a crappy school because no one will select the crappy school.
Yep.
So more choices, we'll all do better, and et cetera.
Okay. Less Native Americans, more math and reading and science.
No, that's not what I said, but that's what you're going to take from it.
Meritocracy. I tried to package it. Don't forget, you're talking to a community college guy, okay? Stick with me. On a business sense, though, isn't this kind of a hustle because it also allows teams that do this a chance to sell new jerseys?
Oh, that's true. What a good point.
No one ever talks about that.
And they can keep their state funding because they took away their logo, their mascot, their name. That was offensive to Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
How is Warrior offensive?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Because it sounds like positive, prideful. They're warriors. You don't want to mess with them.
Yeah. I'm a warrior when I do yoga every day. It's just, where does it stop? It has to stop.
But are you a warrior when you do yoga every day?
Well, now it's offensive if I say that. I can't say that, right? So, maybe you find like the happy medium. Okay, maybe you can keep the name Chiefs, but fix the mascot so that's more sensitive to Native Americans. But I just don't know where we stop. And I think this was the perfect year to ram this through.
Yeah.
Because it was 20-something years ago that the former head of the Department of Education said, yeah, we need to be more, not alienate certain people and be more inclusive in schools. And it took this long, like it was a trickle.
Yeah.
Some teams started changing their names. And now it's like, here's the deadline. You got to change your mascot and your name if you want the money. And of course, parents out there are saying, well, we want the money for our schools because we're doing terribly right now.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say, but it does nothing for the kids. I mean, maybe you could tell me the
Kids
money
don't
does
even
what they
notice
was
this
appropriate.
I'm definitely going to start
Kids
calling
don't even
myself a
notice.
warrior when I do yoga.
Well, those are the names of the poses.
Everybody
Warrior
focuses
1.
on the name.
Yeah.
I like
there are-
Warrior 3. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. But I was saying to you, like everybody focuses on the names, but there are other aspects of sports that also pertain to Native American culture. Like at the end of every game, New York Jets fans have a trail of tears. You know what I mean?
I think the names are important because you want names like Brave and Warrior because you want teams named after angry people. That's why you want Vikings. You want a team called the Pirates or the White Ladies of Panera Bread would be a team. And to Kat's point,
I've been that lady.
if you want better math scores, don't worry about Indian mascots. Bring in more Indian kids. The ones from India. They're crushing it in the spelling bees.
So you're saying you bring in them so my kid can copy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the other thing. We're not talking about the most offensive mascot of all, and it's not Native American. Notre Dame's mascot, Fighting Irish, the team is called. And what is their mascot? Little drunk leprechaun with his fists up in the air, right? What is he fighting? He's fighting a battle with substance abuse. But that's okay. Why don't we change him?
Up next, he delivered the cops a bust along with cheesy crust.